Ukrainian troops' shells massacred Russian troops fleeing Uruzhain. It was all but inevitable that the Russian garrison in occupied Uruzhain would fall, advancing in a pulse of rapid assaults since early June. A powerful division-size Ukrainian force including all 4 Ukrainian Marine Corps brigades had flanked Uruzhain, a tiny settlement with a few hundred structures arrayed along 3 parallel north-south roads in southern Ukraine's Donetsk Oblast. By advancing east and west of Uruzhain, a key Russian strongpoint in a chain of them leading south toward occupied Mariupol, 50 miles away on the Black Sea coast, the Ukrainians left the increasingly desperate Russian garrison, including elements of the 37th Motor Rifle Brigade, just one way out of Uruzhain, the TO 518 road, threading south into neighboring Zavitne, Bajania, and Staromlanivka. The recapture of neighboring Uruzhain was only a matter of time, and when the depleted Russian garrison fully or partially retreated on Saturday or Sunday, it did so on foot and in broad daylight along the open road and the fields abutting it. A pair of drone videos that the Ukrainian Defense Ministry released on Sunday depict scores of Russians hustling along the road. In the first video, a high-explosive artillery shell explodes, blowing soldiers to the ground. In the second video, the Ukrainian gunners use dual-purpose, improved conventional munition cluster shells to pepper the Russians' escape route. Russian forces have been using cluster munitions since the beginning of their wider war on Ukraine, starting in February 2022. Ukrainian forces got Turkish cluster shells in late 2022, and this spring also got American-made M483A1 DPICM each, capable of penetrating more than 2.5 inches of rolled homogeneous armor or incapacitating personnel, according to a U.S. Army field manual over an area that varies according to the round's altitude at the moment of expulsion, but could be as wide as a football field. The American DPICM rounds are dangerous to armored vehicles. Against unprotected infantry, they're murder. It's unclear how many Russians died in Uruzhain and on the road out of Uruzhain. Scores, hundreds, either way. There's a good chance that as of today, the only live Russians in Uruzhain are prisoners of Ukraine. Not everyone agrees this is the case. While some observers on both sides of the war believe the Ukrainians have liberated Uruzhain, the Institute for the Study of War in Washington, D.C. urged caution. ISW has not observed confirmation that Russian forces have completely withdrawn from Uruzhain, and Russian forces likely currently maintain positions in at least the southern part of the settlement, the think tank wrote on Sunday. Whether or not a few Russians still cling to positions in southern Uruzhain, the imminent outcome of the fight for the town isn't in dispute, and the Russians already are trying to assign blame. The Russian information space is seizing on Ukrainian gains in Uruzhain to highlight poor Russian morale and command challenges in the area. One Russian blogger blamed the 37th Motor Rifle Brigade for failing to send tanks to support the infantry. Brigade troopers also were drunk, the blogger claimed. Another blogger faulted the Kremlin for removing the commander of the 58th Combined Arms Army, which oversees many of the brigades and regiments in southern Ukraine. For the Russian dead in and around Uruzhain, it no longer matters who's at fault. and the 37th MRB, the 58th CAA,